Hello.
welcome back to the Global Poker League. You are watching live this Tuesday evening. I'm Laura Cornelius.
I'm Roland Boothby in the booth.
And we have had quite some action already this evening. We've seen Olivier Busquet take it down for the LA Sunset.
Scott Ball sweeping,
Scott Ball with the sweep.
sweeping Bryn Kenny. A very, grumpy-looking Bryn Kenny by the end of things.
But he had scrubs.
He had scrubsy, but I don't think it was enough to brighten up his day.
Oh,
Poor old Bryn Kenny.
Listen.
He could be seeing...
It's scrubsy. It's enough to brighten up anyone's day.
Well, he could be seeing his side crash out of the GPL Season 1 in the next hour or so. Phil Galfond with the chance to send San Francisco Rush into the playoffs, leaving New York, out the door, playing Felipe Mojave Ramos, the already qualified.
Yeah, they've
Sao
already
Paulo
qualified.
Mets.
I'm so excited to see Phil Galfond in action after the last match he played versus Jonathan Jaffe. That was such a good match.
Jonathan Little, yeah. It was
Jonathan
very,
Little, sorry.
Oh, God.
Too many Jonathans
the cream
in my
of
life.
the cream rose to the top in this instance. And, our minds were blown, weren't they?
Totally.
To say the least.
My mind was blown anyway.
Well, interesting facts about this game. Phil Galfond, who everyone knows to be one of the best minds in the game, without a win in heads-up matches in the GPL. Here's his stats.
Phil, what are you doing?
2.3 million in live earnings. Of course, well known for his online exploits and his coaching. OMG Clay Aitken online. Absolute... genius of the game, revolutionised the coaching side of things. Plays all the games.
The way that he's
all the games, handles himself beautifully,
he's
articulates himself incredibly
yeah.
well, and one of the best minds and coaches of the last 10 years, I suppose. As for Felipe Mojave Ramos, he's got a completely different record to Phil. He's won both his heads-up matches, 100% record, and those are coming against Olivier Busquet and Jeff Gross.
First player to beat Olivier Busquet as well.
Sweep against Jeff Gross, and he's also put in a lot of decent results in the six maxes, resulting in a points efficiency of 65%, which is amongst the best in the GPL. So, incredibly strong performances by Felipe Mojave Ramos, but he will have his work cut out against Phil Galfond, who knows that a win of any kind, 2-1 or a sweep, will send the San Francisco Rush to Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas.
But Felipe, we're going to need a turnaround in the form. Felipe Mojave Ramos yet to lose heads up on the GPL. Phil Galfond yet to win. It's a surprising stat, but these things happen. We've seen Phil play incredibly well against Jonathan Little and still not quite managed to get over the line. Here are the standings in the Americas Conference, which could be set in stone by this evening in terms of teams going to Vegas and teams not. New York Rounders.
It's so ironic. The only team we know is not going to Las Vegas.
It's the Las Vegas Moneymakers. Well, we could be two teams who we know not to be going because the New York Rounders will be out the door, or the proverbial door of the GPL Season 1 if Phil Galfond gets a win. There we see 155 points, plays 152. San Francisco Rush will be 9 points ahead if they win 2-1, but with an unassailable number of victories. Of course, any teams tied on points at the end of the season, we will look at the number of wins for that team. And as you can see there, San Francisco Rush with a much larger number of wins. So 2-1 is the result needed for Galfond. I think it would be preposterous if Galfond got to his fifth heads-up match of the GPL without a win. I would be incredibly surprised. I'm going to predict a win for Galfond.
Can I predict a win too?
Yes, I think you can. We normally go against each other. It makes it slightly adversarial. But I mean, we can hop on the same side of the
fence.
Though,
he has got such a good track record as well. I kind of want to go for him, but I feel like Galfond really deserves it as well.
He deserves a win.
He's played so well.
Poor old Phil. Only 25% of the points available to him. Not something we expected of Phil Galfond, which is possibly why the San Francisco Rush have been, struggling near the foot of the conference because, players like Galfond were essentially like shoo-ins for points, you'd think. When Faraz Jaka was picking his team, he was, of course, the first round pick for Faraz Jaka. And, we've generally seen the first round picks have been, delivered the goods, so to speak. But Phil Galfond, not one of them so far. Of course, card distribution always a factor in these heads-up matches, which can sometimes play, a bit turbo-y. You can, especially if no one develops a chip lead early on, you can get down to the phase where they're between 10 and 15 big blinds deep, and you're just waiting for a cooler, and it can often be a 60-40. So huge anticipation over this match. This match, now far and away the match that will, deliver the kind of the picture that we're going to see of how the conference will shape up and who will be moving forward to the playoffs. Just a reminder how those playoffs are going to be formatted. Hopefully we can get you a graphic too. Chip bonuses for the team finishing first, second,
all
and
about
third.
Chip bonuses.
We all like chip bonuses at the GPL. 30% chip bonus for the team finishing top of the conference. 20% chip bonus for the team finishing second, and a 10% chip bonus for the team finishing third. And the fourth place team will start with a flat 100k, and they are of course carried across to the conference championship final, which will be played on day 2 of the playoffs, where we will crown the champion of each conference before the final match of season 1, the finals.
Well, we had a brand new top scorer at the end of the last game.
Olivier Bousquet.
Indeed, Olivier Bousquet takes over as top scorer of the GPL. Let's take a look at them. These are the top 6. It was Nanonoko, Randy Liu of the Hong Kong Stars, who was in front before Olivier Bousquet took over with 6 points just earlier on. He has played 13 matches as opposed to Nanonoko's 14. Anatoly Filatov has a chance to get up there, 65 points as well, the same as Olivier Bousquet, if he manages to sweep tomorrow and pick up all 9 points for his team, the Moscow Wolverines.
Here we
but
go.
Let's get to this
Vamos
game.
Ramos against...
Here they are.
GPL Friendfield Golfon, what a pleasure.
Woohoo!
This is the man. Very nice playing you, sir.
Such a lovely guy.
Oh,
in
yeah.
fact, all our Brazilians
So
are lovely. I love them all.
I heard
Not really going
you need a win today. that's what I heard.
I'm actually going to modernise my
try to make
strategy.
you, but let's see.
Min-raise strategy is non-standard for me. I have some plans in mind, and I'm just going to bet this flop, even though not really accomplishing much, just a protection bet.
We're live playing the GPL. Come on over.
You sure are, Felipe.
GPL.tv.
Who are we going to see? Who are you talking to? I love how Galfon just remains so calm.
Last time I played, I talked
collected.
a lot while I was making moves, and I ended up on the hot seat, so I'm going to try not to do that as much today.
No. Talking is...
Talk to us. His beard looks a little longer.
Playing a little aggressive, my friend Phil, from this beginning.
Felipe's just too cool. Like, proper cool dude.
Yeah.
Let's start with a bet.
He's always smiling as well, I feel like. Phil flopped an up and down straight draw in this hand. Felipe, bottom pair.
And this is a spot where I'm actually going to incorporate an overbet, which is not something I plan to do very much, but this is a very good spot and a very good hand for it. I really want to make sure I get rid of the dominating gut shots, like, let's see how much I want to go. The dominating gut shots, like King 10. So that when I hit a queen, my outs are good. And this shit I'm calling with 2 pair. So that my outs are good.
Very, very interesting bet. It's like 3x the pot on the turn.
He's going to make it
It's
interesting.
very unconventional, and of course I'm
and confusing.
expecting all the geniuses and unconventional plays from this man, which You respect a lot. This is only third pair.
Nice little
Take it down, take it
nice
down.
3x pot over bet there from Phil Galfond. Perfect Nash in the Twitch chat. Commentators drunk again. So many inaccuracies. So many inaccuracies in that comment.
I wish I was drunk.
We're neither drunk now, nor have we been drunk before. So I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's the impression we give off. We're just.
Do you know what?
we're just full of-
Unfortunately, this is me sober. You can only imagine what I am like drunk. It is like
Same with me.
this times 2,000.
Well, people think I'm overly excitable and too animated and too pointy because I love the GPL.
Playing a flop. And we'll be check calling.
Oh, is Blondie drunk? I got a name, peeps. I ain't just called Blondie.
2 pair here for Felipe, and middle pair with a backdoor heart draw.
It's a bad turn card.
Counterfeit
Very good flop.
for Felipe.
And a bad turn card.
There's a chance this will be chopped if a higher card comes. Phil currently leading with his
very good value
kings and
here
jacks with a
two
9
pair.
kicker. This will be chopped unless one of these players
Ace
folds.
on the
Very
river.
easy check on this river. We can even consider check raising for a lot of reasons.
Kings and jacks. Very unlikely he's got his kings and check twice. Go for a little value.
Phil.
The timing feels like actually he's value betting an ace. The reason we could check raise is because he's going to bet the turn with most of his queen 10 hands, and certainly with his king X hands. So his range on the river for value betting is basically any ace, and he's not going to have better than an ace almost ever. While we can certainly have king X, we can have queen 10, we can have king 4, whatever else. This hand's a little strong for it. I actually, so this is supposed to be a call, but I'm getting sort of a bad feeling about it. It's just really supposed to be a call. I'm going to have a hard time. No, you know what? I'm just going to trust my gut and make a tight fold.
Oh, interesting that Phil's considering 3 different options there at one stage or another. I think it could potentially be a raise. I mean, a call would have chopped the pot, and eventually goes for the tight, the tighter of the 3 options. But incredibly fascinating that Phil could justify all 3 options there on that river, facing that river bet from Felipe.
Let's check this back. I'm winning against a lot of the hands that he folds.
Let's go ahead and lead this turn. It's a little higher than normal.
Hold on the turn.
It's okay.
Easy check call. The thing about that ace river is some people view it as like a very good bluff when it's not a fantastic bluff, given how often I check call the flop with ace X and king X. So I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm curious to see what he had there.
Shout out all the Brazilian.
I don't think he has a lot of Jack X in his check back range on the flop, like the exception of maybe like King Jack and Ace Jack. I think he would bet like any kind of Jack with a gut shot, so I think it's a very clear call. I don't love my turn tank before checking, but I don't think it matters much.
This river at all. I don't think I get called by worse.
Superior 10
That's
for
probably the only hand
Felipe
I'll be
Mojave Ramos.
getting called, maybe.
doesn't accomplish much to bet.
Second best hand for Phil again here.
Close spot here on the turn. I'm going to call. It's possible he's betting a 9, but more likely he's betting either a better hand or some kind of gut shot or open ender. But my hand's good enough to call.
I think we want to put this bet here with the best hand, probably.
Value time for Felipe Mojave Ramos.
Close
Yeah,
spot
just
here.
getting called by this 9 something.
My blockers are okay to call. I don't block any of his bluffs. And I do block some of his 2-pair. I think he can get bet any jack for value. I'm not sure about a 10. Certainly a strong 10. Yeah, I don't know. I think this just has to be a call given that I don't block like 8x or king x or queen x or 7x.
Yeah.
Call, bro.
A little decent pot going over to Felipe there. Interestingly, Felipe Ramos' name is not actually Felipe Mojave Ramos. I believe that's a nickname. Felipe Tavares
really?
Ramos.
Tavares. Interesting.
I discovered that from the Hendon mob, which is, of course, the most accurate source of poker knowledge that one can find.
Either way here, it's an okay hand to bluff with. I think probably I'm going to go for it.
This bluff likely
He
to
checks
work.
back a lot of ace x of hearts or jack x of hearts. This will be a fold. I haven't 3-bet yet, but I'm happy kind of playing small ball a little bit. Just seeing the hand history where I had jack 9. He essentially bluffed me off a chop. I'm not sure what his plan was. But I need to definitely keep in mind that he can bet kind of thinner, more kind of merged hands. This hand's a very clear check back. Or I shouldn't say very clear, but it's pretty clear.
Flush draw for Phil. That was looking dicey for him on this flop.
This is probably a good board texture to bet the turn, right?
I think so, Phil.
Turn
I
is
mean,
close. I'm
Felipe.
going to check back again and get my 1 street of value on the river. I don't need protection, really.
Brazilian Phil against
Let's suppose we're giving up.
American Phil.
Let's see if he puts a bet in. Good. Very good. So it's like 18. It's time for the sorcerer for a little bit of its magic.
The sorcerer has entered the fray.
For some reason I felt that coming. I'm just going to fold, even though I'm pretty high-ish in my range. His river check timing actually made me, after I bet, made me regret betting a little bit, just because I think he thinks a little bit more with like queen or an 8 and snap checks his check raises as well as his check folds. But I'm just going to let this go.
Interesting sizing from Felipe, going for the 5x.
Parduk says, if you
river
ask me,
check raise.
Laura is the MVP of the first season of GPL. Yay! Do
Oh
I get a
my
prize? Do I
God.
get a prize?
I mean,
Do I get a prize?
We are giving a prize to the MVP,
Look at
but
prize.
it's got to be an accurate award. Can't
Yay!
we want a
Come
democratic
on.
democratic
Podak
vote.
is a
You
good
can't.
guy.
We can't. Yeah, he can't.
Come on,
He's
he
not
knows.
the
He
decider.
knows his stuff.
He doesn't decide.
He knows his
We're
stuff.
all about democracy
I'm
here.
going with him.
Let's get a vote on it.
Thanks,
I mean-
Podak.
Easy call.
Parker Talbot was going to use the
Easy
chips to
check
pay
call.
for rent this month. What does he do now?
Parker,
You have to think of another way out of it.
just be very nice to your landlord, and I mean very nice. Hoping it's your landlady.
Go cold.
Easy check call once again.
Hard on the turn.
Obviously.
So top pair for Felipe Ramos here.
Don't think I get called by much worse here whenever he doesn't have hearts.
Third pair and a
It's a
gut
good
shot
river
for
card.
Phil.
Queens
Definitely
of
G.
don't have to value bet. Check and then decide. We'll have an iffy decision if he bets. Could do all three options.
All right. Sorry, go for some value.
This is a kind of a strange line, especially to be betting this big after checking back the turn.
Phil is
He's
blocking the
representing, like,
nut flush draw.
Two pair or some kind of thin value bet with a queen or maybe a king that didn't bet the turn, but I would expect a lot of his kings to bet the turn. Given that he just check raised me on the river, I think he might suspect that I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm actually not going to make what is a pretty reasonable check shove bluff. I'm just going to let it go, and I know it feels like I'm playing kind of weak, but I think the hands are just kind of dictating it so far.
Nice analysis by Phil.
As
Certainly
always.
not making
Takes-
as many
I got
hands as
takes
you
a
reached
lot
like.
a couple of times that I have called
time
it
to
down.
take
Thus
his
far,
decision,
obviously,
so-
don't want to read too much into that this early in the match.
That means he will hardly commit any kind of mistakes by
Go out here, I'm going to bet.
Phil finally
let's use bottom
making
pair
a
for
strong
now.
hand. Try and
I don't like this turn card.
we'll probably try and get a couple of streets of value here.
I'm going to bet the turn and well, I'm going to bet fold the turn, which, you know, if he decides to check shove, it would be very problematic. Not giving a second. Yeah, I need protection. I do open myself up to getting check shoved by, like, I don't know, ace X of diamonds that floated, but I don't think there are a lot of hands that will.
Both catching a piece here. Flush draw for
Close
Felipe Ramos.
situation. I'm going to opt for...
Can
No,
we
I'll
sing
check
Vamos
back. It's really
Ramos?
close.
That's the
I
question.
think either is
Oh,
fine.
yeah,
That would be
the,
for protection.
The Brazilians are, well, I mean, they're getting in there
I don't need this turn.
before a game is won.
The problem is I haven't yet seen him lead the turn with a weak hand. So checking back maybe doesn't have quite as much merit, but I certainly have to call one. Bad river.
Felipe Ramos getting...
There's a small chance that he was betting with the deuce for protection. We might have the same hand. But, I mean, there's no reason to bet my hand, obviously.
Now the pot going over
nice
to Felipe.
check. Thought he was probably gonna go for a little value with third pair on that river card. Nice one, sir.
It's not quite the Brazilian setting that Joao Samar.
Not going to get this in. And we'll check call the flop.
Hello and welcome
Go call on this flop.
to all our Twitchers out there. Say hello.
This is probably going to
Come
be a
say
check
hi.
shove.
A lot of Brazilians in the house
I
tonight.
watched
We're not drunk.
his
promise.
match a while ago against Olivier, and Felipe was betting a lot of like mid pair on the turn, which means that there are some hands that I can make fold if I check shove. Then here on the river, I think I almost always have the best hand. Guess I'm gonna go for the check call because I don't think he would put me on many bluffs if I bet.
Let's see.
He's just king high, so easy check down for him.
I had a feeling, little feeling.
Pretty clear spot to start betting. Well, I shouldn't say clear, but I have a big range advantage here. And a draw plus 6 high, so all that combined equals bet.
Flush draw for flush even for Phil Galvin.
Interesting spot. If we were deeper, it'd be a pretty reasonable overbet spot, given that I did before. In this case, I'll just bet the somewhat normal sizing. Actually, I should size up here. Because I need a lot of protection, but I'm happy to get my money in now. Shouldn't say a lot of protection, but I don't think he's folding a king on the turn, nor do I think he's folding 2 pair. And there are a lot of hands that are, like I'm targeting king X mostly with that. But there are a lot of hands that are, pair plus heart, which actually have reasonable equity against me. I don't want to give him a cheap card by betting small.
Phil creeping back towards parity in this one. Up and down, straight draw for Felipe. Pair of 5s.
Now opt for protection here.
Go ahead and bet.
I'm actually going to go with smaller than half pot sizing on paired board. Stacks are getting shallow.
It's a mean bet. It's a good one to put a raise.
A little worried that that might have induced this. It's going pretty small. I'm going to start with a call, but going to be ready to relinquish my hand to further action, most likely.
Probably not to that card.
Go call, and this is not a great card for us. Even though, yeah, he'll be willing to stick it in and continue here most of the time.
So his size on the flop indicated he could actually have the same hand as me. He can also have some bluffs, but the thing is the bluffs have a lot of equity, not a lot, but they have 6 outs against my hand. So I'm just going to go with a small bet and kind of leverage the fact that I can have 7x, I can have overpairs very easily.
Blixfish says, must be tough to play when you have the nuts every hand.
It's purely to protect my hand.
Yeah, certainly referring to the way Felipe Ramos was running at the beginning of this game. But as we see, Phil's pulled it back now, and he's that hand has put him into the chip lead. Well, the ever so slight chip lead.
Yeah, they're very, very equal right now.
Yeah, very close this match, and Phil's picked up the best hand again here. So could see a slight tip in the balance of this one if it continues.
Very easy check call. Wouldn't be disastrous. Well, no. I think check raise doesn't make a ton of sense. It's purely a protection play with, some equity if he does get it in with like an overpair. But check calling makes a lot more sense. If I had like 7-6, a check raise might make sense for value.
Got called here. I'm gonna put a second barrel. That's sure.
Interesting. Felipe Ramos flopping a lot of backdoor possibilities. This Jack of Diamonds isn't one of the cards that
very not thrilling.
Improves his hand.
But with my extra equity plus potentially having the best hand, I think it's a call. It's pretty hard for people to not bluff every gut shot here, and there's so many 6x and 4x combos, as well as now the 10-9 and 10-8 and 8-9 are double gut shots. So I mean I think he's bluffing enough.
Yeah.
That's a good river.
Probably a
I'm
good
not
river
gonna bet
card. Especially for polarizing. Right? That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
That's what he's doing.
I thought I was gonna get called a river and not bluff this river, so that's why I'm just gonna ship. So I'm gonna just ship.
Both these players loving life here. Little do they know. This
Oh,
hand will be chopped.
He's got it.
We'll chop it up.
Chop. Nice hand. There was a little trap, huh?
It's kind of fun when you can see both players' cards and they both have a nutted hand. I think they both think they're going to win the pot, and you just see, and then you just they go, I've got this, and then oh no, I'm
That's what
chopping.
happens whenever I lead the flop.
Very weird lead.
A bit like that hand we just saw on the World Series.
Indeed.
I don't think he has a 10 because the last time that this happened, or on a paired board, I min bet and he check raised with a bluff. So I think if he had a 10, he would look to make the same play. The problem is, I think he could have like a 4. That said, I'm going to call and try to make a play later. Although it's very questionable, certainly. So the question is now, can I bluff him off for 4? And I think I can. The speed at which he checked, to me, means he probably doesn't have a 4, actually. I think he probably has a hand he's giving up with, or a check raise hand. Which means I could potentially check, but at the same time, yeah, because I don't think he has ace high. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to check, although I'll lose my ability to bluff at that point. I'm just going to bet and hope that he folds some air or folds a 4 potentially. He also could have turned a 6. Should maybe go a little bit bigger if I am betting. That snap check does worry me. It kind of threw me off.
Considerably a low bet on this turn. Whenever I thought I was gonna maybe some ace highs protecting here. Trying to mix it up a little bit. That didn't work out well for me.
Oh, and a great bluff there from Phil Galfond.
Oh.
Considered checking. Went for the pretty small sizing in the end and getting the job done.
There are a lot of things with game flow that I think are very important, and I think that's a good example. When somebody has a good hand, and very recently they've made a play with a bluff, that's likely to happen again. They just it's very rare that they take a different line with their value hand. So like if he did have a 10 there, he would check and he would check raise. I don't think he would slow play it. I don't think he would lead it. Whereas in normal cases, he might do one of those two things. I guess I'll raise call. Was going to shove over a raise. The limp is a little more polarizing, so he'll have some weak hands and some very strong hands, but I still think my hand's too good to fold, or to not go with, I should say.
Tough spot here for Felipe. Going to give up the suited connector. Blinds up to 12-24, so 13 big blinds.
This hand.
This could be the hand.
At his best that way. I think.
Did over
And we'll
10
see the
blinds.
snap
I
call
call.
here from Felipe Ramos.
never
He'll need an
bet
ace or a
saying,
7.
Flipping.
Huge. There it is. Huge pot here. This will send the chip lead
Not the
to
best
Felipe
flop.
Mojave Ramos. Oh, but that one.
Oh.
And
Oh,
well,
7?
2-pair turn set for Phil Galfond. Felipe needing an ace or a 7.
All right,
That
was
won't be
fun
it.
one.
And Phil Galfond, well, I mean, a crazy run out in that final hands. That match, very sort of topsy-turvy.
all over
Yeah,
the place.
topsy-turvy. We saw Felipe
not drunk, I
Ramos.
promise.
We're not. Felipe Mojave Ramos, you know, taking an early chip lead there. Certainly seeing the better of the cards during the early exchanges. But Phil turning things right around. And in the end, you know, getting his money in good there with
Good.
pocket fives. But ace and ace 7 flop. You thought the chip lead was heading over to Felipe Ramos, but then the
it was
the
a
5.
very, very
The
nice
5
flop for the
alive
Brazilian, wasn't
on
it?
the turn for Phil Galfond. San Francisco Rush have picks up 3 of the 6 points they need to qualify for the playoffs. So
It
they
is
are
not Vamos Ramos.
no, but they're through already. San Francisco Rush are not through, but they just need 3 more points. And I think within the next 2 games and 3 games on Thursday, they're going to pick up those 3 points.
I think
they've
it's
got,
possible.
They've got to score 3
Distinctly
points
possible.
from their next 5 heads-up matches. 2 of them being played for certain by Phil
I
Galfond.
mean, they'd have to be really bad not to do that.
Yeah, and they'd also need New York to win every single match that they're playing. So it's, you know, the San Francisco Rush have their foot in the door of the cube. You know, they're in.
Like
They're,
this,
you know,
like.
they're almost in that cube. Only, you know, only the collapsing of the GPL Las Vegas studio could prevent, you know,
Don't
Faraz
say
Jaka.
that, Roland.
I'm not going to be there.
Stranger things have happened. Are you sure you're not going to be there?
Haven't got the call. Maybe they're leaving it
Might be
late.
a late
maybe
call.
they're leaving it late.
Might be late call.
Yeah, San Francisco Rush almost in the playoffs. 1 more win needed from Phil Galfond over these next 2 matches against Felipe Ramos. Really nice match to watch. Felipe Ramos always plays with a smile on his face. Phil Galfond talks. His voice is like silk.
Isn't
You know,
it?
It's,
He's
I just want it.
so,
I just want it in my ears all the
It's
time.
just relaxing. You know what? I could listen to him before bed.
Yeah, I think I could listen. You know, he's so
Just like
soothing.
drop off into a nice, lovely poker dream.
Game 2. Here we go.
Lucky to win a flip. I haven't done a lot
Here
of
we go.
that in the GPL, so especially in that fashion.
It's
kinda
always
fun.
nice to hit that 5 on the turn.
Back to deep stack play, which I prefer.
Aggressive. Somebody call 911.
911. I'll call it for you, Felipe.
I was debating raising larger, but I'm going to stick with this.
It's going to call 911.
Stop, I'm just going to give up.
Any Kevin Spacey's or Puppy's feet today? Bit
A little too
disappointed about
connected
that.
to bluff flop with a hand this week. And
Tweak that
I don't
software.
really see the reason to bet. I can just try to show down king high, probably lose. It's like one of the few hands that a bet makes sense against.
A love for Phil Galfond in the Twitch chat, unsurprisingly. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't mind this flop. It's Queen 8-4.
Definitely want to start betting here.
Not a whole lot of joy for Ramos. He does have a backdoor straight opportunity, but gonna let that one go. Thanks for your contributions in the Twitch chat. Don't forget the GPL is on Twitter at GPL. Use the hashtag GPL to follow along and don't be put off by tweets.
Call.
Jean-Paul the Great, finally a poker player that brings analysis to the forefront right on PG and other unnamed pros.
PG.
Phil Galfond.
A bit like one of my favourite
tips?
tea
Nothing really to
brands.
talk about at this point.
not a
Backdoor
PG
flush draw,
fan, I'm
backdoor
afraid.
straight draw, ace high.
Tetley all the way.
Tetley's my third favourite.
PG's too strong for me.
Yeah, that's where
Put another
that's where we
bet here
differ.
and try to
Oh
go
gosh.
Yorkshire, then PG, then Tetley
sizable.
for me. Yorkshire's
Oh,
a real
gosh, no.
Yes, I do
Yorkshire's
think
a
I
real
get called
team.
by
No.
bunch of hands to be made.
Captain Boza Phil, you sexy beast.
A lot of draws on this board that he could be betting.
David
My
Lloyd
hand's
Price.
just a little too weak. I can call with pairs and fold my ace highs with no draw.
Little pot going over the way of Felipe Mojave Ramos,
Trabendo,
a.k.a.
guys.
Felipe Tavares Ramos.
Trabendo likes Phil's glasses. So do I. Kind of sexy glasses.
Just a reminder, folks, 3 points needed for the San Francisco Rush to seal the deal, take them to the playoffs at the end of November.
Kodsky
This
says,
will also... Go ahead.
tell Phil I love him. Phil, if you're listening, Kodsky loves you
So this is actually kind of close. I'm
with all his heart.
going to call, I'll make a tight fold.
Or her.
Just I'm going to get barreled on a lot of turns and I can't do much about it.
I'm just guessing that most of our Twitch
Let's go São Paulo.
chatters are male.
You do our female viewers a disservice. I think it's pretty...
There's a few.
I think it's 50-50. I think it's 50-50.
No, it's not. There's a few female.
Show me the evidence.
Who? Come on, girls, grills.
Grab some
Are
action.
you out there? Show us some love, girls.
Easy check call.
Fortunate turn of events here for Felipe Ramos.
Second pair, no
Getting
hearts.
outflopped.
Just gonna bet this.
You bet really small. Not sure what to make of that. It would imply like a 3 or ace high or something, but it's not going to change my plan. It could also be a very strong hand.
Still getting called by a 9 here. As I reduce my size bet to get called by worse, that's what I'm planning down here. So going for value.
So now I'm a little more concerned that he was, even though it's very rare, especially when I block a king, concerned that he was betting small to make sure I don't fold when he flopped a huge hand, but just not going to fold top pair to a small bet and then a normal size bet.
So by the way, he's playing, could play some sort of King X, hardly folding, but I'm also getting called by this 9 whenever the river card is a blank. So I'm going for 3 streets of value with second pair. That's what I'm gonna try to do. Yep.
Dicey situation, Felipe. Going for incredibly thin value.
So there are 2 ways I can lose this, or 3 ways really. He could have
I'll get called by
like a
that.
6-4
Check now.
or 8-6 type hand that was nothing and then a semi bluff. He could also have like flop set or flop 2 pair. That was kind of what I was worried about initially. Or he could have a hand like 3-5 or 9-5 potentially. Probably 3-5 be more likely, or 5-5 or 7-7. That you know, started out as a like weakish protection bet and now has either turned a river to big hand. I don't think he's going to bluff a hand like 7-6 when he gets to river this way. Don't think he bets small on the flop with hearts, except maybe nut hearts. I beat Queen 10 and Jack 10 and Queen Jack, but I think he would bet larger on the flop with those hands. So I'm left struggling to find bluffing hands unless he's going to just like randomly barrel like a queen six or something like that, which I don't think is super likely. The 8 is actually a decent card for me to have, but I'm going to make what's a pretty tight fold here.
Wow.
I'm struggling to come up with bluffing hands.
Wow, Felipe Ramos, it would seem value betting 2 10s there. And Phil,
it's okay, I'm happy with this play.
A far more polarized range.
Let's go for some slow play.
Phil likely to be pretty shocked when he sees the replay of this hand on Twitch in 10 minutes time.
So bad whenever we don't. Hardly 3-bet from the big blind and
go smaller than this.
Get a weird flop going. Let's see this turn card. Bang.
Nice to improve. I probably don't have the best hand, but definitely not going to bluff with a 4.
It's just not a very good river card. Okay, I check.
And easy check down. I probably lose, but might beat a deuce. Wow.
Good.
So he might have thought, he hasn't 3-bet yet in the whole match. And he thought I would give him a lot of credit, which, I would have. He actually made more money this way. But still surprising to see.
I'm just going to mix it up a little bit as he just saw me slow playing kings.
Creates an interesting dynamic when somebody doesn't 3-bet a super premium, because then you think, well, what are they actually 3-betting? If he had kings, he would 3-bet it now, certainly. So it's unknown to me whether or not he would go through the thought process of, well, I'm not going to get credit for a 3-bet since I just didn't 3-bet kings. Some people think that way, some don't. But I definitely know that if he has a strong hand, he's going to 3-bet here. This would normally be a call. I'm going to go with a tight fold, I guess. It's close, certainly.
Yeah. Let's go, Sao Paulo.
I mean, there's some people that take it the other way and would 3-bet really light there.
Let's go, Sao Paulo.
Nah.
I'm kind of content to keep pots small for the time being.
Let's mix it up a lot against this player. That's a pretty good flop. Mid pair, flush draw.
This is normally a bet. I'm going to check.
So much it comes.
Try to make some more money later.
That's interesting. I'm leading the turn. Quack, 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 quack.
He's going for bet, so I'm going to call. The reason I decided to check is he doesn't seem to be floating a flop with any kind of weak hands, so I think it's harder to get value that way. So I'm going to opt for this way.
Some showdown value here.
Not the best river. Certainly would have called bet, and I'm still going to bet myself. I don't think it's very likely he would go for a check raise on this run out. He could check call a hand like King 10 or King Jack, but otherwise I think I probably have the best hand.
Phil, going to likely be getting pretty soon the news that he folded the best hand in the hands, King 8 against 10s.
Jesus. Whenever he checks back this flop, could have something like 7, 8. Now hitting this river. Now 7 something, or pockets, pocket 4s, pocket 6s. Don't think he's betting that. Probably betting all the kings. Probably betting all the kings. There's very few lines of bluffs here. I know my line looks weak. I bet the turn and give up the river, right? But I think I'm beat. I don't think I have the best hand here. Execute, son. Execute this fold. Execute.
Felipe executes the fold that he was so urging himself to do.
Let's keep going. Right or wrong?
So 40 big blinds, I will 3-bet this. I'm just now seeing the king 8 hand that I folded. He actually was value betting a worse hand, with tens. What that means for my strategy is it's not entirely, like, the obvious thing is I can't be folding top pairs to him with action like that. Like, just high in my range, I need to call down. But as far as what I do with different hands, there are a lot of potential implications that I'll be thinking about now.
This one I'm going nasty. Blinds are high, and I'm raise folding too much, and I know this is some sort of situation where smart players, as Mr. Phil will be 3-betting a lot.
Wow, Felipe getting frisky here.
I expect him to shove with like ace king, ace queen. I think he would make this play potentially with ace king, probably with like a weak ace blocker hand, or like king rag or some kind of other bluff, and also with aces, kings, queens, maybe jacks, maybe tens. I think I'm definitely not folding. The question is, do I
No, I don't have it. Just keep the.
There's already almost 20K in the pot. By the time I call, it'll be about a pot-sized bet left. It is really close, but I don't want to give him an opportunity to flop a pair with some of his like king 6 offsuit bluffs. So I am going to shove here.
All in for Phil. Felipe.
I think.
Put his gun back in his holster for the time being.
You see it in my face. I'm struggling with the that fold that I made. I don't like being wrong. So it depends what level you're on, but it's a pretty good spot to 3-bet again. I'm going to go for it as a bluff, obviously.
One more 3-bet from the main. So still a lot of chips here. I don't want to get too exploited as he's putting his action once again. Hardly ever a real hand coming from this bully. Yep. It's just gonna ship.
Here he goes.
Easy fold now. It's interesting because, yeah, the stack depths, like, a lot of his strong hands will want to 3-bet small. I don't know. I think it would have worked a lot. Obviously, he has some kind of hand that he can shove, whether it be a pocket pair or some kind of ace high or suited connector that he's making a good light shove with. Or a nice hand.
Back to pretty even stacks here. Blind's gone up to 600, 1200. Three points needed for the San Francisco Rush to secure their place in the playoffs.
So it's a funny dynamic now. This is definitely not a fold.
Some pressure on.
I think
Let's go.
the thing about the dynamic, I think he's likely to 3-bet bluff a little more often than normal, but I also think it's likely that with like ace queen or ace jack offsuit, he's going to be looking to get it in, where otherwise, I mean, ace queen and even ace jack are kind of standard, but like he could be going as weak as ace 10 here, which would be problematic, obviously. I'm deciding if I want to shove in 50K over this, or if I want to just call and see a flop. I think I'm leaning towards just calling and seeing a flop. All of this makes a very good shoving hand. It's such a good shoving hand that I think I'm going to go for it.
Yeah. Phil empties
Trying
the
to do
clip
some
on
like
Felipe.
Hollywood here, so he could figure out, maybe think I have a hand. No, I'm bluffing a little too much now.
How many miles to Hollywood, Felipe?
This guy stuff. Love this guy. Okay, folding now.
Ace high like a boss. Up to almost 60K for Phil. Picking up jacks. Felipe has an ace here, and
It's a fun dynamic we got going here. It's not like what I set out to do in the match. I wanted to keep a low variance, but the cards have kind of dictated, this kind of stuff happening.
interesting spot here. Phil are likely to 3-bet and could set up the potential for a 4-bet shove from Felipe if he thinks Phil's getting out of line.
There's 68.
Could be fireworks here.
It's gonna go play aggressive because I know he's gonna 3-bet too much now. And she
Sense
puts
this could be coming.
Ace blocker. Just need to get this game even.
He's loading those bullets. The magazine is going in. His fingers on the trigger. Here he goes. All in and call.
Of course.
Oh,
If Phil Galfond can avoid an ace, the San Francisco Rush are on their way to Las Vegas. Safe flop. Ace needed for Felipe Ramos. Otherwise, Phil Galfond 2-0 up and on his way to Vegas with the San Francisco Rush. Just an ace on the river. There it is.
Right.
San Francisco
Definitely can't
Rush.
fault him for that shove, given the action.
Phil Galfond
as of late.
completing his first victory on the GPL.
Fortunate to have jacks there.
Go for the third game.
Whoa! Viva Las Vegas!
Vamos, Las Vegas.
Vamos! Well,
Vamos,
Phil
San
Galfond
Francisco.
hasn't had a win on the GPL. He's the man to seal the deal
He's having a
for
win
the San
tonight.
Francisco Rush. Incredible show of poker there from Phil. Some really nice. I mean, we saw him did make a slightly surprising laydown with King there when Felipe decided to value bet tens, but Phil went from strength to strength after that hand. I think it might have even spurred him on a little bit. But the San Francisco Rush are on their way to Las Vegas. The New York Rounders not going to Vegas. That's
Sorry, New
confirmed
York.
on the back of that result. Phil 2-0 up, 6 points guaranteed for the San Francisco Rush. They are now 9 points ahead of the New York Rounders with a uncatchable, unassailable number of victories in the GPL, which is, of course, the measure if two teams are tied. So that 9 points will not be caught, and the New York Rounders will not be going to the playoffs in Season 1. Who would have thought, Laura? Jason Mercier, Tom Marchese,
Jason
Bryn
Mercier,
Kenny, Jason Wheeler.
well, good job, because Jason
Tyler-
Mercier is getting married anyway, isn't he?
Yes, well, he wouldn't have been in the
So
cube
get
anyway.
married.
Third game, here we go.
Are we going to see Phil Galfond
Never
sweep
swept.
all
Never
9
the one.
points?
Sweep is on for Galfond.
We said he deserved it.
He
He
deserved
played so
something.
well, like in all
One,
of these other
check
games
box.
without any
Ticked.
wins.
One box ticked. You can go either way here. I'm going to bet.
Third game, let's go.
Let's go, let's go, let's go!
Vamos.
Vamos!
So this is normally a 3-bet, or like always a 3-bet. As I said at the end of the last match, I'm trying to keep variance down a little bit, but I think this stand's just too much of a 3-bet to opt not to.
Last match of the night.
Third again, 3-bet. Interesting. Give you credit for this one.
Tomorrow we bring you Eurasian Heads Up, final set of matches from the Eurasian Conference, and then Thursday night, the final set of matches from the Americas Conference. Every little issue will be done and dusted by Thursday night. We all know the positions, we all know the teams not going to Vegas, and we all know, of course, who's finishing with those chip advantages for the playoffs. Very rough spot here, Felipe Ramos. Bottom 2 for Phil. Up and down draw for Felipe now. Number of ways he can win this pot. 36% to get out of this little sticky situation.
Improve a little equity for me.
So we check call leads here. Very possible that he has a straight of some kind. I'm probably never really folding this hand, especially given that in previous spots we've seen him value bet really thinly. Obviously, he can have 5-3 and 4-3, but also he can just have King X as well as some bluffs. So easy call, and I'll be calling most rivers.
Safe river for Phil.
Included.
Call. What sorts of hands are calling here? Of course, some kings.
Gigi Fab says, where did Laura go? I'm here. I'm just being quiet because they're talking.
Showdown.
I mean, it's a value bet. I'm trying to figure out what he has. Because I think
ago.
he'd still value bet a king. He might have backed into like Jack 6 of cards or something.
Noticed.
But
nah, Gigi did.
definitely going to value bet this.
Well, the thing is, as long as Phil is playing a couple kings, he also could be playing some missed draws here, and this way by just betting the flop and calling the turn. So it's gonna go this one with top pair, 2 pair.
Nice pot going over to Phil there.
I think this is pretty normal.
Sweepers on.
I'm just looking back at some of these messages. John Paul the Great, we love you. Roland and Laura are the bee's knees.
Oh yeah, John Paul the Great 95. Absolute legend.
Love ya. Quadski says Galfond equals Jesus plus Jungle Man. I agree.
Jesus plus Jungle Man. I think it's a bit too
I think he's gonna play a little.
nicely kept. The other two are more dishevelled, especially that Jesus chap.
I think I will.
Who's he?
Biblical guy.
Oh, what's that?
So that's
Big
why I'm
book.
gonna open this with
What, like-
4-bet. I'm never folding
Harry
this hand
Potter.
in this
That's super
situation because most of the time this is pretty good spot for me. So let's just put something like
Standings
just like this.
They are.
scrolling across the bottom of your
Something
screen.
like-
Take note.
Something like I'm folding,
Talk when they are.
and I know he's playing
It's
pretty aggressive
relentless.
now.
Um,
And of course,
obviously folding this hand. I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think. I'm failing.
A rarity from Galfon.
What that he's trying to think.
He said, I'm trying to think of failing. Normally he succeeds in his thinking.
This hand can go either way. I'm going to check it down, try to show down.
Flush draw for Felipe.
His turn.
I'm just going to fold here. Even if he has a bluff or semi-bluff, he has a lot of outs.
Felipe Ramos will
Easy
lose his...
check. Obviously not sure what to make of the limp, but we'll see.
interesting flop here. 2 pair for Felipe. Up and down for Phil Galfond.
So he's either got like a very strong hand that he limped, or you know, a relatively normal, weak, potentially even mediocre, like medium strength hand. This would normally be a check raise. A little, I shouldn't say nervous, but his sizing to me indicates that he's got something going on. Like it might, I don't want to read too much into it. I think it might be a draw or pair. I think it's likely a draw, but it's a draw that's not going to fold to a check raise. And my hand actually does really poorly against draws, so I'm just going to call, hope for the best. Not a fantastic turn, but it's an okay one.
Just check call. It's not a bad this turn for some protection here with 2 pair whenever I have the best hand most of the time. Still getting called by a 10, especially if it has a spade.
Somewhat likely as like a 7-9 type hand, which I'm doing very well against. Although with 7-9, 7-8 limp, I think he's more likely to limp. Kind of random, disconnected, but suited hand, potentially. Given that I'm having some trouble like thinking of his limping range, I don't think he'd limp a big hand either, just because I've been 3-betting or we've had a dynamic lately. So I'm not really sure what to make of it. I'm going to make a fold that's a little too tight because I've seen him value bet twice with like a 6 in a spot like this, or pocket 8s, although I don't think he'd limp that. But basically there's some hands that are just beating me that are still betting, so he's not as polarized as some players, and to make a fold that I'm not thrilled about.
Well, there you go. Pretty nice reasoning from Phil, as always. Still got a slight lead in this final heads-up match. This match ends in a sweep to the San Francisco Rush. Montreal Nationals will be finishing 4th in this conference.
Go with the min-bet full range strategy on the paired board.
3rd, sorry.
Montreal Nationals.
Sao Paulo Metropolitans will be finishing 3rd. I made a huge mess of that.
What?
Huge mess.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Sao Paulo Mets will be
confused me massively.
confirmed 3rd. If they get swept here, they won't be able to overtake LA Sunset.
I think he's more likely to have like ace.
Don't worry, Montreal Nationals
so
are still in first place.
Can I make this fold now? I think that, I don't want to say probably, but at the price that I'm laying myself, I think that it's worth it. Like, this needs to work a third of the time, or less than a third of the time, and I think that it does. Maybe work like 40% or something.
Yes, calling again. Let's see a river card. Okay, 8 of hearts and check.
Felipe feeling pretty good here.
It's an interesting spot to consider firing the last barrel. He, at this point, could have like ace 10 or jack X, potentially some other ace highs. I think I'm going to go for it.
Phil going to fire a river barrel. A sneaking feeling it's not going to work. Certainly going to cause Felipe Ramos to consider it.
It's a small bet on the turn most of the time. Doesn't mean you have a queen, you know. And I'm probably gonna go for value of some sort of checks, which I only lose to the ace jack. So, and it's a nice answer. Let's have to call this.
There we go.
Yep. Should be one.
Chunky pot going over to Felipe.
One of the best hands we have. Nice one. So I do think it's a profitable bluff, even though you just saw me, fire off 3 barrels with no equity whatsoever. The board ran on the way where very few legitimate draws missed, and I felt like he could check call twice with like King 10, King 9, Ace 10, some other ace highs, potentially some low pocket pairs. So. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that bluff. Just didn't work out.
Gut shot for Phil. Queen high for Felipe. Hand 12. Match 168.
And here with the gut shot, I'm going to go for the check raise.
So much love for Phil on the Twitch chat.
Generally my standard, I guess. Not the best timing after I just got caught, but...
And I love you, GG Fab.
You are fans.
I basically love anyone that's nice to me.
Check raise a lot of gut shots.
So be nice to me.
Didn't work.
And I'll try not to talk over Phil.
Phil taking a small pot there with his gut shot.
Basically, you get love if you don't talk over Phil, so you have to do it really quickly before he talks again. He's not talking.
He normally talks when he's usually when he's facing action.
This is true. Is that how it works?
Oh yeah. My 6 weeks of experience in the GPL booth has taught me many things. Many things.
Learned you how to make money. It taught you even how to make money.
Oh yeah.
You're playing poker. Well done, boy.
Oh, get me back to the EPT. Bottom pair for Felipe here.
Easy fold with no spade in my hand and not much of anything.
Quadski says, Phil, give me your brain for 3 days.
3 days. That's greedy.
Yeah, a brain
Just
loan.
one will do.
A brain loan sounds like it could be messy.
If you had Phil's brain for 1 day, would you just sit and play poker all day? Would you do something else?
It's pretty hard to. It'd probably have to do the thing that would be most profitable. Yeah, I'd probably just go and play some sort of big game. Do I have his money as
limping. Well? He started limping.
I'd have to go and play like 1-2.
I normally do,
but
but
his money.
Yeah, okay.
I normally limp quite a bit, but he's been folding enough big blinds that I wanted to raise. That said, I kind of like the idea of keeping the pots pretty small.
Yeah, I think I'll just go and own a load of 1-2 players.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Which casino?
Just to try to show down and win with queen high.
Where am I waking up the day I have Phil Galfon's brain?
So it's an interesting river. I could bluff here because it's very hard for me to have air. That said, queen high is still going to win against all of his non-pair hands, so I'm just going to show it down, hope to win.
Could just stay in his bed all day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he lives in Vancouver. I don't really know Vancouver well enough to. He lives. I think he's in Vancouver.
Eric will tell us in a sec.
I'm pretty sure it's Vancouver, like 99.9%.
I know his wife's an actress.
You seem to know a lot. Interesting flop here. Top pair for Phil.
Check back one time.
It's interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and bet for value. I think check calling is okay too. Check raising is even okay.
See a river. Good one.
but there are a lot of hands I want to bluff with
There's no any kings
on this turn.
Confirmed.
And
Vancouver.
very easy river value bet on the king. The king doesn't change very much, with the exception of like king 6 and king deuce to improve.
Looks kind of cold out there. But I reckon he has underground heating, don't you think?
I'd say so, based on the snippets of his apartment. I don't think he scribbles on. I don't think he scribbles on heating.
This is a terrific card for the
Might do.
river bluff. Whenever I
Western
don't see bet
Canada.
the flop, and whenever I call the turn, most likely draws and weekends, and of course he knows I don't have a king here, and doesn't bet a 9, only bets better than that. So either 3, 4, 4, 5 or something like this. It's very, very hard, unlikely. He's putting another bluff after that bluff, and that's why it makes likely this guy's gonna bluff again. So
Pokenut says hi. Hi,
considering
Pokenut.
river texture, I gotta call this hand because he's gonna put a bluff most of the time on this sort of rivers. It's gonna call this pair of fours.
No bluff.
9.
Masterclass in value betting there from
Nice
Phil
hand.
Galfond.
Great value bet from Phil.
I'm gonna raise rather than limp hand this week.
Playing a 9 is pretty common over there, as I don't have a king on my range. Either that, either a bluff.
It's just kind of hoping I can take it down pre-flop, and I'm gonna bet for protection.
It's gonna get going for check raise on top pair here. Feels pretty strong to me. Just gonna make it even.
Check raise coming.
Because last time I made a bet, even he thought I was drawing, so maybe he puts me on a draw once again. And
Let's start with a call. Just because I'm too high in my range to fold, but I haven't really seen him go too wild with check raises, like at all. But the 7 is an important blocker to queen 7 and 7-7 and 7-4.
I've got a bruised forehead, you know.
It's close.
Did your head hit the desk in during the excitement of the?
My massage was so intense
Yeah.
that it got pushed
That's
down
that one.
to the table.
You need a new masseuse.
okay.
Oh no, she's really good. But
She beat you
my
last
head
So
time.
this means I'm betting this turn card. That's what this means.
More equity on the turn for Phil.
So 7K, let's make it something like this. So if I bet here this turn card, most of the time I'm not gonna like the river card, and pot's gonna be too high, too big. But whenever I shove this turn, he might put me on a draw or something that got a little more equity and not put me on a top pair. I'm pretty sure if he had like a top pair or something like that, he would go for another raise on the flop. So that's why I'm doing this.
Sounds like
I'm betting all in with full value with top pair.
Move his chips into the middle, and pained expression, possibly for the first time, on the face of
This is actually not
Galfond.
a terrible card. It feels like one, but there's a chance he would do this with like 5-6 or 6-8 and just shove the turn because there's 1.5 times pot left. 5-8 got there, 3-5 got there. The main thing I'm worried about though is his flop value hands. Even as weak as like Queen 10, might just be looking to get it in on the flop. And that hand makes a lot of sense for a hand that would shove the turn. I think heart draws would shove the turn if you play the flop this way, especially with like a 5 or 6 or 8 or 3 with the flush draw. I just haven't seen him really go for it, so that's why I'm hesitant to call it off here. But at the same time, same time, it's very tempting. If I am beat by like queen 4, I have 6 outs. Although if he has, you know, ace 8 of hearts, he has several outs, which is really what I'm hoping for, with the exception of 6-5, which I'm doing very well against.
At home are
Would he do this with queen 4 is one of the questions.
and explaining.
Or would he bet smaller? I think he might do this, given how scary the board's getting. And there's a flush draw. And because there's a flush draw present as well,
Phil could be talking himself into making this call. Really fascinating hand underway. Final game of the night.
It's tough. This is very tough. I think trying to do some quick math in my head. Just combinatorics. And then there's the problem of, you know, does he raise all of his flush draws on the flop? Does he raise all of his 6-5 on the flop? Whereas queen 4, he probably does. Queen 10, maybe not. But when you start adding queen jack and queen 10 and queen 9, there are a lot of potential hands for him to have for value. Even king queen probably doesn't 3-bet, or might not 3-bet. Ace queen he would, I think. I think it's probably a fold.
Phil lets it go after much deliberation, and the correct decision was made.
Okay, back even.
Definitely curious about that one.
Back to pretty level stacks here.
So far he's been limping weak, so I could raise this. I'm just going to kind of quote-unquote slow play it. I was going to do air quotes, but I felt dumb doing it. Although I did not. Easy check call. I'm actually doing fairly well on this board, even though I don't have a very good hand. But I have equity against all his pairs, and if he has like Jack X or 9X, I'm doing very well. Not the best turn, even though it looks kind of good. So that's interesting. If he's checking back, it's hard for me to be beat, with the exception of Jack X. I mean, like Jack X, I think he usually bets 7-6 maybe, but like King 10 maybe, but I think it's just a bet. The problem is I don't know if he thinks I can be bluffing here, but hopefully he just has like Queen X and can't fold it, or 10-9 and can't fold it, something like that. Like the 2 pair hands, I think will auto call. Would have been an okay spot for me to try to induce a bluff as well.
Huge flop.
Wait for that for me. Just gonna check call down.
Finally, a few puppy feet to
Been waiting all night
get
for
ourselves in
the
a kerfuffle over
kerfuffle. That
Felipe.
reminds me of Little Britain. The kerfuffle.
Not getting along with these boards, especially when those turn textures coming up.
Flush for Phil. Phil G.
PG. PG tips in the house.
Problem.
That's what his next book should be called. PG Tips.
PG tips bringing down the house.
I do have some bluffs here. I have 3-5 and deuce 3, 5-3, Jack 10. So
This is a bad river. Just gonna fold and keep going.
I think get max value in case he does something tricky and check back an ace or something. Although that might end up raising anyways. I'm going to go with the overbet to make sure that he knows I'm not value betting a queen. So maybe he might just, you know, like treat all of his weak hands as bluff catchers, which they are.
Felipe flopping a deuce here.
His timing's a little weird here, but I'm not bad.
Not much between these two guys in this final match of the night.
The heat is on.
Heat is on. I mean, the heat's a little off for Galfon. He's
I
won
just
his
kind of
first
feel
match
like a deuce.
on the GPL.
I have been bluffing a lot. I'm going to go with kind of a strange play and make a really small bet to kind of make it look like I want something, want to get called. He can certainly have a flush draw, though. It's actually a little bigger than I meant to go.
Phil getting Felipe off his pair of deuces there and opening up a reasonable chip lead here as we move up to.
Again, like a lot of these hands I
12,
could potentially
24.
raise, but I'd rather just not. They have great playability on the flop. If I had one club, I would definitely call here. I think it's okay to call with this hand as well. Problem is he bets turns too merged, so I'm not going to get to realize my equity very often. I'm just going to fold. Queen 10, I would certainly call with like the backdoor straight draw, or even Queen 4, I would call because of the backdoor straight draw potential. I'm glad to see that he had Queen 9 in the hand where I folded 7-3 because, well, first of all, it was the right fold against that hand, but it also means that if he's going for value with Queen 9, that my assumptions were right, and it makes it a fold overall.
This is check. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Hit the flop.
This is
Cool.
could be fireworks. Bottom 2 for Phil.
To bet. I think checking back is okay as well. Kind of as an exploit. Because, like I said earlier, I don't think he's floating very much.
Seen Felipe raise some top pairs and
So
going to raise
we can
bottom 2
eliminate,
here.
obviously, ace king, maybe king queen, king jack, and king 10 are a little more iffy. There's no question that I need to call here, and I will be hard pressed to fold a lot of turns, but I think this is a clear cut call. I don't think it makes sense to try to get it in now. Like, he can have a worse king, but overall, I'm just going to be denying him the ability to bluff when I have a pretty, like, it's hard for me to get sucked out on, kind of, with a top pair that's this high.
Call. It's a pretty good turn card.
It's safe
Pretty
turn
good
card
turn
for
card most
Felipe.
of the time. Let's show some weakness here. I think this is good. Show some weakness here.
This stack to pot ratio, I really don't think that he's...
Check, raise, and check. This is the first
I
time.
don't think he has a better hand when he checks the turn, but I'm just going to try to see if I can pick off a river bluff by checking back.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Pain
Oh, man.
is the name of the game for
That's
Felipe
so
Ramos.
Cool. Cruel.
Bottom 2, often a vulnerable hand, and this is a fine example of such a case. The ultimate disaster
Terrible
card.
And I'll just go for some kind of bet. I'm running out of time, bank, so... be talking to you guys a little bit less.
Indeed, just 1 minute left, and Felipe's got over 7 minutes.
12K from Galfon.
It's very unfortunate. He's gonna go for a call on the flop with king. He has a 9. I'm playing the board. Doesn't have a draw, probably play a lot more aggressive. It's very unfortunate we remain very. It's gotta fold this one.
You said it. Good fold from Felipe.
It's gotta fold this one, try to make it back.
Good discipline there from Felipe Ramos.
Right
a lot of
mindset.
lesser players put in the river frustration call.
His pocket 9s are good. Let's start a little trap. No traps working here now. So for a little value, second pair.
Gut shot for Phil. Got an overcard to Felipe's 9s.
Just trying to play fast.
Damn.
Likely to see Phil Galfon picking up the pace a little. Might be
So
talking
by
less,
having 2
unfortunately.
9s, it takes a little bit of some sort of straight draws combinations, right? It must be like a jack or 2 pair or something like this. It's not going really my way, but still confident about this. We can play okay.
Big blind range, so plays become a little more automatic. Still gonna limp in though. With some
Double
weaker
up time.
hands and some very strong hands.
Sleeping in. This is like 9 blinds. Yeah. Let's go.
Vamos.
Vamos!
It's obviously getting in.
Such as the
Give me an
5
opportunity.
6 suited. Let's go with this 10 blinds. 5 6 suited open shove.
This could be it.
Bang.
Phil going to make the call.
Oh,
5
oh.
6
Better
Okay.
ball.
diamonds. Pretty live hand for
Standard check
Felipe.
by him.
That's
That's a
We've
good
got
flop.
not a great flop, but he's got the up and down.
some outs for everybody.
Needs a 4 or a 9.
About a 4 or 9 to stay alive.
This will be the sweep. If there it is, the 9
Oh.
bails
Bang.
on the
And we continue the match.
river there for Felipe
Usurper.
Ramos, and the chip lead changes hands in a flash. Phil must have felt pretty comfortable. 10 high flop. Felipe now with the chip lead, and in with a pretty nice chance here for salvaging a 2-1
see
for
that
the
spot when he doesn't shove free.
Metropolitans. The broom is almost out of its cupboard there.
Put the broom away, Roland.
Broom
It's not
is
over yet.
going back where it belongs.
So blind is really high here. This could go either way so well. Just like 10, 15. It's gonna show. It's gonna play aggressive and try to get some advantage, cheap advantage.
Felipe, perhaps probably correctly, opting for a kind of more high variance approach here.
No flop for us today.
Could go either way. I'm actually going to check back.
As tough as you can get.
Might go for delay. See that? It's close. I think I will.
Phil with a gut shot. Take a
King
stab
high
on the
is-
turn
is
here.
good sometimes here, you know. Let's check back the flop. Probably doesn't have a pair. It's called
It's
king
a little
high.
too big.
I
of a
see
bet.
whatever the river brings, the 2. Try to go to showdown.
And I mean, I think he's not going to give me credit, even though this river is pretty good for my delay c-bet bluffing range. I think he's seen too many bluffs for me. If he's watching the stream, I don't know if he is, but I'm just going to give up here, actually.
King high, good.
King high, king high.
Might have folded that. Nice call.
Phil down to 30 seconds on his time bank.
Just gonna go bluff and open shove and try
Very
to
nice
keep
call.
an
That's what I was
advantage.
trying to make him fold on the turn. So unsuccessful turn back. If he's calling with
Surprising
that hand.
shove with 10-5. Slightly surprising from what we've seen so far in the GPL. Players usually electing to limp or fold their medium to trashy hands.
Let's go again.
This
Let's go again.
is an all-in situation for
Bang.
Felipe.
I think this is really
Deus
close,
do
actually.
certo em você. Probably gonna get
Fold,
called
running
though.
out of time bank.
Fold is okay.
20 seconds till Phil's in the hot
Got
seat.
this one.
Yeah, I know, it's exciting.
Phil, it's a shame. Phil's not a slow player, but he's just talking us through his thoughts.
Yeah, but that's why these people love him.
I know.
Two
Get this one
fours.
through.
No.
Feel like we're going to see an all-in confrontation pretty soon. This will not be it.
2-4. Oh my. 2-4 again. It's gonna give a walk one time. 0 value.
Correct. Could be,
Yeah, good,
could be
check
close.
against me. With 9-3.
Oh, king 9-3.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
We're
very
calling
lucky.
this.
Felipe
We're
gonna call.
calling this.
And
We're
good chance
ahead.
for
All right,
Felipe
two live
to
cards.
pull back into this match. And a
looking
great
to hit on
flop
that flop.
with the 3-10-7 of clubs. Flush draw. Gut shot here for Phil,
Couple
needing
more
a
outs.
6-4 queen to continue this match. And that's not going to be it. And
Gosh.
Felipe
Good game, Felipe.
Ramos
Vamos.
picks one up for the
match.
Sao
Good
Paulo
match.
Metropolitans.
I played some really great guys. That's
And you have to feel like
Vamos.
both players are going to be pretty happy with that result. 2-1 win for Galfon. Not the sweep that Galfon might
They're
vote for,
both going to
but the
Vegas.
San Francisco Rush are on their way to Las Vegas for the playoffs. Vamos Ramos, his side, the Sao Paulo Metropolitans, are also off to Vegas. No drama for them. Really nice performance by both players. Phil, an incredible thinker. Very, very, very tough opponent and put Felipe in a lot of tough spots. But Felipe Ramos fought hard and eventually getting the 3 points. You might say he deserved, you might say he didn't deserve it. But 2-1 to the Las Vegas, to the San Francisco Rush. And Phil Galfon, I believe, our winner, is standing by for an interview with Laura Cornelius. Are you there, Phil? There he is.
There he is, Phil Galfon. Congratulations, 6 points. I feel like you deserve this so much. We've seen you play and we've seen you analyse the hand so well. And the last game we saw was just so phenomenal, but you haven't yet managed to win one. So this is a good one for you. Congratulations. He looks confused.
He looks confused.
Can he hear me?
Oh, you're talking to me now. I can hear you. I just turned my sound on, but I thought
I've got to say it all over again, haven't I?
yeah, you do.
We were just saying, we've seen you play so much on the GPL and we feel like you really deserve this win because some of the strategy you've given us and you've just played so many incredible hands, but you've yet to get a win under your belt. And this one, finally you've done it. And yeah, well done, basically.
Yeah, thank you. It has been hard to win some all-ins, but I was fortunate enough to today.
Indeed, you took 6 points down versus the Sao Paulo Mets, and it means you guys are going to Vegas now. You have made the playoffs, so you are responsible for that. That must make you feel good.
Yeah, after kind of letting us down all season, letting the Rush down all season now, I'm happy to have made it happen when it counts.
And now it means the New York Rounders will not be going to Las Vegas. So how do you feel about that? Bryn Kenny, obviously the manager of them, you are responsible for making him miserable.
Well, I mean, Bryn, from all my experiences, is a good guy. I just would rather us go than them.
Talk us through some of the hands in that match. Obviously, you spoke about watching some of Felipe's play before. I think you watched him when he beat Olivier Busquet. Was he playing how you expected him to play? Any surprises or anything that impressed you particularly?
He played somewhat similarly. I was playing differently than Olivier, so I think it caused Felipe to play differently in response. I didn't really execute the plan, like all of the plans that I was planning to. I thought I was going to do a lot more like really small ball strategy with a lot of small bets and things like that. And I ended up doing that occasionally, but checking back a little more, and we got into some 3-bet and 4-betting wars. He played relentlessly in a lot of those spots, which makes for a really tough opponent, but a really fun kind of match. So I really enjoyed that, and he definitely, there were several spots where he ended up showing up with hands that I wasn't expecting, and like in the one specific spot where he had 10s against my king 8, I think that like that one specifically is a little too thin, but in a lot of the other spots, he tricked me by playing the hands well. Specifically, like he got really unlucky when I had king 7 and he check raised the king 9-3 flop with 9-3, and he checked 2 flush draws on the turn. And if for those who were watching, I was saying, like, I think there's no way I'm beat when he checks this turn. So actually, I probably would have bluffed a lot in that spot. But unfortunately for him, I also thought he was drawing near dead when he didn't bet the turn. So I thought I would check back and try to induce a bluff. And he got very unlucky with the king river.
Well, you have so many fans out there. Every time I spoke, they were like, shut up, will you? So I had to try and button it a bit. Have you got any love to give your fans? Any messages? Because they're going to love it.
I'm sorry to you, Laura, for my fans keeping you quiet. But no, I really appreciate the support. I'm eager to, when you watch back, you can see the Twitch chat after the fact.
I think
you can.
What was the question?
Because I was watching, but I don't have the chat up. But I really do appreciate.
I believe you can. Can you
Okay.
when you watch the Twitch chat back? When you watch it back, can you see the Twitch
can.
chat?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
I'm here.
I know.
Yeah,
I know all
minimal
about
volume.
Twitch. Put me in
Yeah, I'm
it,
looking
Phil.
forward to that.
Thanks. Well, thank you
I'll
so
watch it
much.
back and see.
All
Yeah.
right. Congrats again, and well done for making it to Vegas. See you soon.
Thank you. See ya.
Well done, Phil. Take care.
Great guy.
Yeah, you put me on the spot there. That's my my earpiece to Phil, and there was no Phil coming in.
There was no Phil.
No Phil.
Oh,
No
you
Phil in my
you
earpiece.
didn't hear any of that.
No. I could hear it coming out
Oh.
your microphones. It was like very, very quiet. Again, I was starved of
sorry.
Galford. No, really great to see Phil, and always plays with a smile on his face. And
take a look at the
great to have him in the
standings.
GPL. Let's take a look at the America's standings.
Aye.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, look at
lots
this
of green and
now.
lots
I love
of red.
it. Lots of
Everything,
green
more or
and
less, everything
red.
decided. San Francisco Rush on their way to Vegas. Sao Paulo Mets on their way to Vegas. LA Sunset on their way. Montreal Nationals on their way. God, devastation for the Rounders. They're not going to Vegas. Ironically, of course, Las Vegas Moneymakers not going to Vegas. One more set of matches in this America's Conference. Points is all they'll be playing for. There's a few different, little switcheroos that could take place, but we know the 4 teams that are going to Vegas, and we can look forward to those playoffs with huge anticipation. Now we know we're 4 teams from this conference. Eurasian finale tomorrow night, Laura.
So we're going to find out tomorrow.
Going to find out. Only one team guaranteed their spot. The Moscow Wolverines. London are in danger. Paris are in danger. Rome are in
Here it
danger.
is.
There you see it. Berlin Bears. Pretty much, almost there for the Berlin
It's
Bears.
so close,
Looking pretty
though. Look
strong
how
for the Hong
close it
Kong.
is.
But close as close can be. And this conference has given us thrills and spills throughout the GPL.
Anything
And,
can happen,
Anything
yeah.
can happen. But it's essentially between Paris, Rome, and London. That's the 3 teams
Yeah.
who are really going to be tussling for those, for that one spot. Only 2 of those teams will not be going to Vegas, and I for one cannot wait for tomorrow night.
Yeah, you guys have to join us here tomorrow night as the Eurasian Conference will battle it out.
6
and they will
o'clock
be trying
Central
to get
European
their spot
time.
in Viva
Come
Las
on,
Vegas.
London, please.
Doesn't look
Like,
good.
oh, I
They're
know,
shouting
I'm
in
so
my ear. They're
nervous.
shouting in my ear. Come on, Paris. Come on, Paris. I'm not saying anyone. I'm just keeping chilled, watching
on,
from the
London.
sidelines. It is going to be great, though. Please do join us here. We have some epic heads-up matches from the Eurasian Conference coming your way, and we will be seeing who can make it to Vegas. There will be a replay of that last match coming up for you after this one. An old one, but I'm sure it's a good one because they're all good ones here at the Global Poker League. Join us back here tomorrow. We're going to be very excited, aren't we?
Absolutely. Go London. Come on.
Sleep well. Night,
See you later.